Hello, my name is Amani and Nyikang. You're watching The Connect, and this is Business Matters. I migrated with my family from South Sudan in 2002. We migrated and stayed in Egypt for a short while whilst our humanitarian papers were being processed by the UN, because we came through the humanitarian way, as most migrants and refugees and asylum seekers come through in those humanitarian programs. So when we first came to Australia, I was around the ages of 7, 8, very shy, very timid, limited English speaking skills, limited capacity in terms of just identity and belonging. And it was very overwhelming as well, because you're in a new environment, you're still trying to pace it all together. As years went by, we had resources that came and helped us and connected us to the community and connected us to services that would allow us to better integrate into the Australian society. A couple of years go by, we settled in, we started going to primary school, high school, fast forward, completed my bachelor's degree at La Trobe University in social sciences, where I majored in legal studies. I was actually tied between whether I wanted to practice law, but I knew I wanted to be in the legal field. So upon my completion, I did a lot of volunteering with legal firms, community engagement, which is something that's really close to my heart. Just kind of like giving back to the community, giving back to the Australian community through engaging with young people in my community, through advocacy in terms of the issues that South Sudanese in particular, youth were facing. I was very active in that space, and also in the bigger picture, the African community as well. So that's just a little bit about myself. But like most migrants, refugees, and asylum seekers, when we come into a new country, there's a lot of obstacles, there's a lot of learnings, there's a lot of things that we need to unpack. And sometimes we don't necessarily have the luxury and the time to unpack those things, solely because we don't even know some of the things that we are dealing with. We don't know how to go about them, even if we do know, because coming from an African background, things are very hush hush. There are things that are taboo that you can talk about, things that you cannot talk about. So you can find yourself in a silo and being being silenced in a way.
So now with that story and background and finishing your studies and all that happening, what really prompted you to go to business?
What prompted me to go into business was just I just wanted more time. I wanted more time with family. I wanted more time for myself, and I actually wanted to live a more meaningful and purposeful life. I was just sick of the rat race. You wake up 9 to 5, everything becomes mundane. You go to a job that you either hate, or the job is just doing what it needs to do to pay the bills. And I was just kind of sick of it all. But I didn't even know what kind of business I wanted to go into. I didn't know how to go about it. I didn't even know where to even begin. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there and business people out there that are really kicking goals. They're living their life. They're doing things that they wanted to do. And you're like, I want that. I want that for myself. I want that for my future. But you don't know how to get there. I think for me, what got me there, it's just the feeling of wanting something better and knowing that you are capable of living the life that you want to, but it was just the mind, now it's just the battlefield of the mind. How do you convince yourself now that you deserve that life, like you deserve to chase your dreams?
Amazing. Yeah. And really, what took you to the next level? Because now we want to understand what business are you in, and actually what really made it for you that you actually sure this is the business I want to go.
Well, we're actually owners of two businesses. So the first business that I have is with my husband, and that's the window tinting. My husband has always loved being in the automotive industry for as long as anyone that knows him. He loves cars. He loves working with cars. And like when he talks about cars, his face, his entire existence just lights up. And he said, you know what, I don't want to work for these people because I know that I can make more money. And then I was like, all right, then, well, he's just like, you know what, he's like, I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to do tinting and I'm going to focus on the window tinting. And that's what I'm going to do. That's my passion. And he's like, but wait, there's another aspect to it. He's like, I can't do this by myself. I know that you're good with administration. I know you're good with papers. I know you're good with crunching numbers. Like, that's your expertise. You're really good with communicating with people. So I want you to manage the business side of administration and also the technicality part of doing the invoices, talking to the dealer principals, getting those jobs, the marketing. I was like, all right, well, I can do that. Well, you leave your job, I'll still have this other job, just in case, because we both can't be jobless. And this was before COVID, so times, like, it was very uncertain. But once we went into business with the window tinting, like, things just started picking up. Like, it really started picking up. We got clients, we got dealers. Like, at one point we were managing 6 dealerships and it was crazy. Like, it was taking a toll on me doing the invoices, crunching it all out then. And I just paused and I was like, wow, this can work. This actually can work. And once I saw that our window tinting business was picking up, I started thinking, I was like, you know what? My dream of being an entrepreneur can actually work, because I saw a model with window tinting that it had actually worked. We've made a lot of money. Like, we've been running for 2 years and like it's making money. Like, it's working. We've got dealers and we've got retail cards that we do the marketing's there, social media. People are calling in. I was like, all right, well, this is working. And that just gave me the surety that I needed in order for me to kind of now spark what I wanted to do. But at that time, I did not know that I wanted to get into coaching. Coaching was what I wanted to do because I've always had this burning desire that I was supposed to do something more than just the rat race. And it wasn't until it was like I hit a rock bottom in my life where I felt like all my friends or my colleagues were moving on with their lives. They were getting promoted into executive positions. Some of them were like managerial positions. Some of them were like leaving their jobs and becoming like successful entrepreneurs and making serious money. Like, I'm talking about like really serious money in the real estate space, making serious money in the coaching space. And I was like, and I just felt so down. And that time I was just very confused with myself, like very angry. And then I'm just like, I just felt like I was stagnant in a way. Like, I was stuck and I was frustrated. I was just angry, but I didn't know what I was angry with. I didn't know what I was frustrated with. So I went on Google and I was like, something's got to give. I was like, I started looking for coaches. I don't know what it was. I'm like, for me, like, there's people like that do counseling, therapy, and I was like, oh, I've never done therapy. Not that I wouldn't do it. I've never done it, but for me, I wanted a coach. I wanted someone to cheer me on. I wanted someone to tell me the hard facts and the hard truth and tell me, like, this is what you're doing wrong and give me the tool. I feel like therapy, it's great, but they just listen to you. Like, it's just, yeah, like you go and you just vent and it's like, okay, that felt good. But then they don't necessarily give you the tools to change your behavior. So that's why I wanted a coach. My first coach, her name was Emanuela. She was amazing. I had 6 sessions with her. Like, it was an investment. I had to convince myself that I needed that coaching session, and I needed to convince another person who's obviously my husband, because it was a huge investment. Like, coaching is not cheap, but it is worth it. And now it makes sense why these coaches charge what they charge, because you're paying for transformation. You're paying for a life that you deserve. You're paying for them to give you the tools that they've that like tools, that cognitive behavioral tools that are proven, tools that are not readily available, because if these tools were readily available and easily accessible, we'd all be millionaires, would all be entrepreneurs, and the 1% of the 1% don't want that, because they want to create a sense of scarcity. So I invested in with her, and halfway through the coaching, I was like, I think this is what I wanted to do. I think this is yeah, this is something that I could do. This is something that I can see myself doing. And I told her that, and she's like, all right, but we still need to like focus on you. Let's not focus on those endeavors. Let's focus on you. Let's focus on your limiting beliefs. Let's focus on healing you, healing your traumas, healing your PTSD, coming from a war-torn country, and where you see you see wars, or you see people fighting, you see things that you should not see as a child. These things affect you, and they have a profound impact on your psychology, the way you see the world, the way you see yourself as well. So yeah, it was through that coaching that I really got the breakthrough, and I said, wow, I actually want to be a coach myself. Maybe not the same coaching niche that my coach then was doing, but I knew that I wanted to do coaching and coach other women who were just like myself, struggling with the same issue of limiting beliefs. Like, my biggest limiting belief was self-doubt. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Amani, you don't look like you're someone that doubt yourself. But self-doubt is agony. Like, you're constantly in fear. You're constantly, you are your worst critic, and until like you get to the core problem of why you are your worst critic, why you're always negative talking yourself, where those emotions are coming from, you're always going to stay stagnant. And I knew that the reason why I was stagnant, it was because of the way I spoke to myself. And going beyond the way I spoke to myself, it was the way that people spoke to me as a child. Like, I had taken on those beliefs as my own beliefs. So now you have to like unpack all these things. And when you unpack them, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to do the shadow work. But once you do that work, once you take your healing journey very seriously, like, you come out on the other side, like, like, you're unshakable. Like, nothing shakes you as much as it used to. So yeah, that for me, that's how I got into business. It was actually like, it wasn't even intentional. It wasn't like, oh, I want to get into coaching. Like, it was, I literally stumbled upon it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's like you go to the backyard and you find a diamond. You're like, what? This. So it's just something that I stumbled on upon my self-healing journey, and it feels great.
Amazing. We're gonna talk about coaching later on. Just have about two questions about the business side of things.
Yeah.
So, as a startup, I see you involved in two businesses. What are the major lessons maybe you can share with our own maybe African people out there? Because some of them are afraid to start a business.
Yeah.
So, what are the key lessons you learned that actually kept you, in front of the pack?
Okay. All right. I wouldn't say on top of the pack, but I would say like within the pack. So having two businesses, it's not easy. It's not an easy juggle, and especially when they're both in polar opposite industries. One is in the automotive industry, window tinting, and the other one is in the transformational therapy space, which is coaching. But for me, what worked is that what we did is we just modeled the window tinting. The first business, everything went well. I don't believe in reinventing the wheel. Like you just do the exact same thing. If it works, do the exact same thing. Make the tweaks as you need. Having two businesses is not that easy. It's just about time management, and it's also about putting like enough, like putting enough time aside to be able to give those businesses the attention that they need and nurture that they need. Sometimes I do like find myself I'm falling back on this side or this side, but then I regroup and I tell myself that, you know, what is the most important thing? Like, what do I need to do? Is it time management? It's also like commitment as well, and taking care of yourself, taking care of your mental health as well. So you are in a space where you can be creative as well, and you can be doing work. But what I would say to other African Australians is that don't be scared. Don't let your fears hold you back. And I know that sounds so cliche to say, don't let your fears hold you back. But when I launched my coaching business, which was on the 30th of March, this year I turned 30, and turning 30 for me was something very personal. I told myself, like, when I turn 30, I don't want to be beating around the bush. I don't want to be doing like the things that I was doing in my 20s, which was, you know, shrinking myself, which was hiding behind, you know, like closed doors, you know, like turning opportunities down because I simply felt like I didn't belong to that table, you know, or I'd see like someone sitting at that table, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I could never get to their level, you know. Those were all part of my negative limiting beliefs of self-doubt, and that self-doubt also like now gave birth to something which is even worse, procrastination. So whatever it is that you want to do, don't get stuck in analysis paralysis, which was my biggest issue. I think for me, I think analysis paralysis should be a mental health issue because if you get stuck in over analyzing, over researching, like looking at your competition, your competitors, what they're doing, you know, how you can insert yourself there, like you really get stuck. The key to it, you just need to make a start, take that quantum leap. I always say that with this coaching business, I just launched it. It's like flying a plane while building it. I'm still like that, wherever that plane lands, I'll deal with it. You know, it can land in the river. Okay, well, I'll get like the wing, and then I'll swim back to shore. It can land on concrete, and I can like fracture all my bones, get to the doctors, they'll put me back together, or I can have a soft landing where I won't even get hurt. So whichever way you cut the cake, like you have to leave room for optimism. You have to leave room for hope, and you also have to leave room for what if things actually go right, like. Because when we think about how things can turn out, our mind always goes to fright mode, which is, what if things go wrong? Fear of failure. People are going to laugh at me. And this is something that I had to overcome, and something that I'm still overcoming, because with us in the African community, I feel like we are part of the herd. We have this pack mentality. And that pack mentality is great. It protects us because it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to support each other. It takes a village in a lot of aspects. But when it comes to self-development, it does not take a village, you know. When it comes to self-healing, it does not take a village. If you are serious about your dream, it's going to take a village, but more than the village, it's going to take you and your mindset. So I would just say, in order for you to be among the pack out there, and to chase your dream, and to do things that you've been dying to do, things that you know you're capable of doing, just make a start. Like, make a start, fly that plane while building it.
Amazing. And something that crosses my mind, and with all this happening, and you mentioned your husband, and you know, you have two business running. How did you balance everything? Because someone might ask, she's got everything together, but maybe there's a story there. How do you make it work? Because there have to be a balance. Life, family, and doing life. How did you make it balance?
Oh no, like, and that's the thing with entrepreneurs and people and business people. Like people look at them and be like, oh, they've got it together. Oh, and it's like, no, they don't have it together. Like they're still trying to put it together. They're still trying to search answers. There's days where like I'll wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh my goodness, I've got a coaching client like 5 a.m., you know, because they're all the way around the world. Like tomorrow, Monday morning, I'm going to work 9 o'clock, but before work, I've got a 6 o'clock client. So for 1 hour. So that one, the hardest thing about it is if they are potential clients, it's like, all right, I have to spend a little bit extra because I'm going to have to sign this client up, right? This prospect up. And it's like, all right, I have to now wake up 5 o'clock, do a little bit of preparation, get myself ready, prepare the sales presentation. On top of that, I've got like, you know, my 1-year-old and a half, and I need to like start preparing his stuff and drop him off to childcare. Hubby goes to work around like the time that, you know, I drop the little one off. So we don't have it together. There's days where you're just exhausted and you're like, I don't want to see a client today. I don't want to do this invoice. I don't want to deal with the headache of these dealership principal that's talking about where are these invoices for the cars that were tinted last week. And then on top of that, you've got personal life. You know, your friend might probably be going through a crisis, your family crisis, something's always going on. So it's like we don't have it together, but we just make it work. We make it work by prioritizing the things that are important. What does that look like? You know, for me now, it's prioritizing family time. You know, so having enough family time with the family, my husband, my son, you know, my siblings, my friends, and people that I truly love, like connecting with them. And also just having me time as well. I think it's very important, like when we're talking about mental health and prioritizing things that are important. I like to prioritize my mental health because I need to be in a good mental health space. I need to be self-aware. I need to be good mentally in order for me to pour onto others. Because if I'm not coming from a good place, my clients know that my business suffers, my family suffers. So it's about, you know, prioritizing the things that are important, and then also sometimes working backwards. Like you have like an end goal. Okay, this is the target. Let's just say this month we've got like a 10K target, we've got a 5K target, whatever the target is. All right, work backwards. That's what I find it's good. All right, you know, what can we do to make 10K? Okay, we have to go harder on the marketing. We have to go hard on the content, you know, to get those clients hooked in. And then, okay, in terms of my coaching, all right, you know, if I'm doing promotional stuff, free things, free coaching, let's just say free coaching sessions, I give 10 people free coaching sessions. And then now I'm like, all right, I'm going to try to convert 5 of them into actual clients. So it's about just prioritizing the things that are so important that will get me there, that will get the business there.
Amazing. Yeah. And you mentioned a very critical part, which I wanted you to maybe give a few tips.
Yeah.
Mental health. How do you yourself take care of your mental health with all this going on?
Yeah. I think for me is it took me like until the age of 30 to actually start taking my mental health serious. And I think that's something in the African community we don't take serious enough because we're too busy prioritizing our work. We're too busy prioritizing the kids. We're too busy prioritizing the people back at home, just sending them remittance because they rely on us. So when we talk about mental health, like for me, mental health is something that is actually, it's always been in the background for me. But this is the first time it's actually being in the forefront. So how I take care of my mental health is I just take time out. Like I literally take time out. I go for walks. I make sure that I exercise. I love walking. And funny enough is that when we're talking about mental health, people think that, oh, it's about meditating. It's about doing yoga. It's about doing things. Yes, it's great to do those things, but it's also about self-awareness. When you bring awareness to things that you're dealing with mentally, that can have a profound impact impact on yourself. For something that I find that I do on a regular basis is it's so simple, but it's just like deep breathing. Like I practice deep breathing because what deep breathing does, it calms the nervous system. So what people think that, oh, in order for you to take care of your mental health, you have to change the way you think about things or change the way you talk about yourself or others, which is great. It's part of it, but also there's a kind of like a physical side of it, a physiological side of it, which is the body. And a lot of people are now starting to get to know the limbic system and the nervous system, and how actually stress and all of those like mental issues or mental symptoms can have an impact on the body. So it's very important to just take care of yourself. For me, it's walking. I can walk 2 hours, 3 hours. I just put on like a really good podcast. And once I come back, I take a shower. I find that I'm more calm, I'm more relaxed, and then I can start making content. And that's really, I get into the rhythm of my creativity. So for me, it's getting physical, doing deep breathing, and also just, catching up with my loved ones and just having a good chat here and there. I believe that laughter is the best medicine. So I like to put on like some old movies and just put it in the background, not necessarily like engaging it, but just put something that makes me laugh. So the body is feeling relaxed. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And with all said and done,
Yeah.
so two things. What is your biggest motivator, and is it worth it?
So my biggest motivator is poverty. I know that's a bit odd, but poverty motivates me. I come from poverty. I come from a war-torn country. I come from a country that is seen as an infant, a child. It's not developed. I come from a country where there's a lot of political unrest and instability, and a lot of work needs to be done to get it running, to the standards of other countries, and that's not to put like my own country down, but that's just my biggest motivator, because I come from a town called from Akurwa. So I'm from Akurwa, and it's a town called Kaka. So there it's very remote. It's a rural area. Like you have to go. It's probably like deep in the bushes. So when I think about my life or what it could have been, I probably would have been around because of the instability and the wars that are constantly happening. I probably won't be around. I'll probably be dead by now. So I think about myself as, those children that would not even be given this chance. Like this is like a once in a lifetime chance for me. And it's like, to be where I am right now, it's almost like a dream come true. It's almost impossible. So every time I think about that motivates me, and it's just like coming from a place like that, this is not meant to be my story. And that's the story of a lot of people that come from, African background, that are pushing it in business. Is because they come from similar story, which is poverty. And that poverty really is the fuel to drive them, because when you've got kids now, that changes the game for you. You're like, all right, you know what? I don't want my kids to go through what I went through. So what do I need to do in order for them to live a better life than me, in order for them to have a better life experience than me? So it's when you start asking yourself that question, those type of questions, then you will uncover what it is that drives you. For me, what simply drives me is poverty. I don't want to continue in that cycle. I don't want to continue in that cycle of scarcity, a scarce mindset, like not knowing what tomorrow holds, like every time I'd look at my bank account, I'd panic and be like, would I make it through, So it's just breaking that cycle. It's also like it's attached to like breaking generational cycles of poverty as well.
Amazing. And is it all worth it? What you've done and accomplished now, is it all worth it?
It's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. But I would say that maybe this question you need to ask me again in 5, 10, 15, 20 years time, and every time it'll probably look different. I would say I'm just at the beginning now, just touching the surface. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. At the moment, in terms of launching, in terms of getting the wheel started, it's definitely worth it, because when I come across clients in both tinting and also my clients, when I see their reaction in some of the coaching sessions, it's just like, wow, like it is worth it. It is worth me overcoming, self-doubt, procrastination. It is worth us just taking the risk and opening a tinting shop, because like when you see your clients getting results, or when you see the customers being happy, like it's worth it. You're making an impact. So I definitely will say yes, it's worth it.
Amazing. Let's talk about coaching a little bit. And I want you to now narrow down to, why do you think someone needs coaching?
Yeah.
Or maybe paraphrase the question, why is coaching important?
Yeah.
And if someone needs coaching, how can they get a hold of you?
Okay. All right. I think coaching, why someone would need coaching is that if you're feeling stuck and you're frustrated and you're feeling stagnant, that's what literally most of the women that I coach, they said they feel stuck, they're frustrated, and they don't know what to do. It's coaching. For me, how I define it for myself is having a cheerleader, someone cheering you on. It's like, going to a basketball game and you've got your mom, your dad there just cheering you on. That's what a coach is in my mind. That's what a coach is, and that's what I do to my clients. I don't tell them what to do. I give them the tools and just watch them really take those tools and use them to transform their life or to get that breakthrough. So coaching is really important, because you need someone who is going to support you through challenging those limiting beliefs, through challenging your conditioned self. I think with us is that we have this conditioned self, like this child, this unhealed wounds, this trauma from our past. And you need someone to help you to get to the root cause of those issues, because unless you get to the root cause of those issues, you're still going to be in that hamster wheel doing the same thing over and over again. So it's very important to work with someone who's professional, that knows exactly what they're doing, someone that believes in you more than you believe in yourself sometimes. Because my clients will come and they're like, I don't want to do this, I don't know if this is going to work. And I would say, look, I believe in you, I believe that you can do this. So you need that, like, that support, just to help you uncover your blind spots. And the thing about my coaching is, which is neurotransformation therapy, is that not only am I working with emotions and feelings, but I'm also working with behavioral patterns. It's getting through to the root cause of those behavioral patterns. What are they connected to? So if I if an opportunity comes up, why is it that your thought pattern goes to a negative emotion of saying that, oh, I'm not going to be good enough, I'm probably not going to be chosen? What other areas in your life have you done that for? When did it start? So in some of my coaching lessons, it depends on the clients, because I like to customize it to my clients. I don't like to do the same thing over again, because I don't believe in like a one size fit all. So some of the clients that come in, and I was like, all right, they'll come in and they think that they know it all, and they're like, all right, this is a strategy session, and we're like, hold on, when you're doubting yourself, like where did it begin? Like why are you always doubting yourself? It's like, oh, I'm always doubting myself because that's how things are always been. That's how I always thought. It's like, all right, let's go back in a timeline in your childhood, and I take them through like there's an exercise that I do, and they're like, I did not know that my self-doubt or procrastination stemmed from my childhood trauma and the things that happened to me. Like it gets really, really deep, and we go deep into like the cognitive behaviors, because what we're essentially trying to change is the way they communicate with themselves, as well as now taking the body along, because you can change the way you think about things, but if you don't bring your body along, if your body is not convinced, I can sit here and be like, oh yeah, I'm very positive. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna get up tomorrow at 6 a.m. and I'm gonna do it. But like my body is just like, why are you lying? My body, I need to bring my body in. You need to lean in. So it's about getting to the root cause of those negative emotions. And I feel like coaching, everyone needs a coach. I always say everyone needs a coach, but everyone needs a coach. Everyone needs someone that's going to support them, someone that believes in them, someone that can really hone in and say, you know what, this angry, frustrated child has been controlling your life for such a long time. It's now, we need to get this child to basically get off your back. We're not going to throw them off your back because they're just going to come back again. What we're going to do is just let them know it's okay. Send them off, gently and quietly, and have a moment with them and cry with them if you need to. But this wounded child needs attention, and now it's the time. There are people that will say, I don't need coaching, which is fine, because again, like when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I've had clients that come in and they're like, we've gone in and done that, like the timeline, the neuro linguistic timeline and the therapy, and they're like, oh, it's a bit too deep for them, and they've kind of pulled back. I'm like, I'm not ready. I was like, well, that's fine. Whenever you're ready, come back. I'm always going to be here. Yeah, so that's just some of the things that I do. In terms of how people can reach me, I'm on social media. So I'm on Facebook. My name is Amani Nyikang. I am on LinkedIn as well. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. So it's just Amani Nyikang. So I'm happy to connect with anyone that wants these services. But I would honestly recommend it for women. For me, I want to focus solely on women because I am so passionate about women affairs and women issues, in particular women who suffer the same issue of self-doubt and procrastination that I did. I used to think I was a huge procrastinator, and I used to think that I procrastinate because I just didn't have good time management. I didn't have good discipline. But when I actually did the core inner work and healing that wounded child, I'm like, procrastination has actually been triggered by stress. It's because I'm stressed. And a lot of people don't know that. They think because you're lazy or you lack self-discipline. No, but procrastination is triggered by stress. And what is stress triggered by? It was triggered by my negative beliefs, and my negative beliefs were triggered by my upbringing. My upbringing goes back to my childhood. So it's like a whole line, like wow. It's a can of worms. So, and sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And that's why if you work with a coach, if you work with me, I'm happy to, support anyone with that who suffered the same negative emotions. Like self-doubt it really is something that can leave you like stagnant in a really bad way, like where you constantly feel stuck. But imagine like every opportunity, everything that comes your way, you're constantly like self-doubting yourself. Like it's sickness. It's mental agony. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And to our viewers, I'm sure I'll put the link down there. If you need the services, if you need to know more, you can always reach out and actually get to hear the all the services she offers as well. And today, maybe you have any final remarks, whatever message you have to our African brothers and sisters, this is your point. Any final remarks you have for us today?
Okay. My final remark would be go out there and do it, make a start. Another remark that I would have is your mental health is so serious. I know in our community, mental health is such a profound issue that a lot of people now are waking up and starting to take their mental health very serious, and some people are still to take their mental health serious. But what I will say is put yourself first. Work on yourself. If taking care of your mental health is seeing a counselor, getting a coach, seeing a therapist, do what you need to do in order for you to be in a good mental health space, because it's only when you are in a good place and you're pouring from a good place that you can now start to abundantly pour onto others. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And with the same breath as well, like in order for you to live a fulfilled life, in order for you to live live your dreams. In order for you to be the person that you were meant to be, is you actually have to look within and, you know, ask yourself the hard questions, do the hard work. And once you do it, once you get your breakthrough, I promise you, your life is completely different. Other people will, you'll just attract abundance, and you whatever you do, wherever you go, like abundance is just attracted to you, because now like you're radiating that positivity, and people will gravitate towards you. So yeah, just go for it, take care of your mental health, and have fun. Like, don't take life too seriously. You know, you'll have like a good day here, you'll have a bad day here, and then you'll have like an amazing day, and then you do it again. So like, don't take it too hard. Be gentle on yourself. And yeah, just have fun. Thank you so much for watching Connect TV. It's been such a pleasure here today being interviewed by Pete and his colleague. So if you want to reach out to me, or if there's something that I said that resonated with you, please feel free to do so. My contact details will be under this video, so feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to be at your service. If you've got any question about window tinting, or if you've got any questions about my coaching business, I'm happy to answer all your questions. It's been such a pleasure being here today, sharing my story with you. And I hope that you can take something out of it as well. Like, you know, if you take 1 point or 2 point out of it, I've done my job. I know that I'm not here to change the world all at once, but if I get someone that 2 people or 3 people that reach out, or someone walks away feeling motivated or empowered, or was like, oh wow, I felt that was talking to me, I've done my job. So thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to getting to know you better. If you are one of those people that felt like you will get in contact with me, I'm looking forward to chatting with you. Thank you.